In 1442, a father made a deal. Vlad II, voivode of Wallachia, a man who had sworn an oath to defend Christian Europe against the Ottoman Empire, sat across from Ottoman envoys and agreed to hand over his two sons as political hostages. The older boy was 11 years old. He stood in a castle courtyard and watched his father's hand move to sign the agreement. His father did not look at him. They were taken to the Ottoman fortress of Egrigöz in the center of Anatolia. Not a dungeon, the Ottomans kept valuable hostages comfortable, but the walls were high, the guards were real, and home was 1,000 kilometers away. His younger brother Radu adapted, learned Ottoman, became the companion of the Sultan's son, chose survival through accommodation. The older boy watched and chose differently. In 1447, the news arrived. His father had been ambushed and murdered by Wallachian boyars, the noble families who had decided Vlad II was too useful to the Ottomans and needed to be replaced. His older brother Mircea had been captured and buried alive by the same men. The boy receiving this news was 16 years old. He did not cry. He did not scream. He began making a list. What came back from that Ottoman prison was not the boy they had sent. It was Vlad Dracula. And he remembered everything. To understand why Vlad became what he became, you have to understand the world he was born into. Wallachia in the 1430s was not a powerful kingdom. It was a buffer state, a small principality pressed between two enormous competing forces. To the north, the Kingdom of Hungary. To the south, across the Danube, the Ottoman Empire, the most powerful military force in the known world, in the middle of its greatest expansion. Every Wallachian ruler faced the same impossible calculation: pay tribute to the Ottomans and be called a traitor by the Hungarians, or resist the Ottomans and be destroyed. There was no neutral position. Vlad's father had chosen a third path: join the Order of the Dragon. The order was a chivalric society founded by Holy Roman Emperor Sigismund, sworn to defend Christian Europe against the Ottoman advance. Its symbol was a dragon coiled around a cross. Vlad II wore the emblem so prominently that the people began calling him Dracul, the dragon. And his sons were called Draculae, sons of the dragon. Vlad was born in 1431 in Sighișoara in Transylvania. He was the second son, which meant he was raised with every expectation of power, but no guarantee of succession. He had an older brother, Mircea, who would inherit, and a younger brother, Radu, who would grow up to be famous for his beauty and his loyalty to the men who had imprisoned them. The boy's education was the standard program for medieval noble sons: languages, military strategy, court protocol, the arts of governance. But their father added something else: a deep familiarity with the Ottoman world they bordered. He needed his sons to understand the enemy. He did not anticipate how thoroughly that education would be continued in Ottoman captivity. By 1442, the political situation had become untenable. The Ottomans demanded proof of loyalty from Dracul, concrete proof. They wanted his sons. Dracul signed the agreement. He handed Vlad, aged 11, and Radu, aged 7, to Ottoman envoys in a castle courtyard. He did not look at them as they were led away. In the Ottoman fortress, the brothers diverged completely. Radu was charming, beautiful, and pragmatic. He became the companion of Mehmed, the Sultan's son, the future Mehmed II, who would conquer Constantinople. They were friends first, then something more. Radu converted to Islam. He adopted Ottoman dress, Ottoman customs, Ottoman identity. He chose to survive by becoming something other than what he was born. Vlad watched this and said nothing. He chose a different education. He studied the Ottoman military with the systematic attention of a man who intended to use what he learned. Guard rotations, patrol patterns, supply lines, the psychological weaknesses of the Janissary Corps, the political tensions within the Ottoman court. He kept a small carved dragon, the Order of the Dragon emblem, the only object he had from home, not as a memento, as a reminder. In 1447, the news arrived. His father had been murdered on a forest road in Wallachia by the Boyar families, the powerful noble clans who had decided Dracula was politically inconvenient. They ambushed him, killed him, and buried his body without ceremony. His older brother Mircea had been captured. The Boyars buried him alive. Vlad was 16. He made a list, every family, every name, every detail he could learn about who had been in that forest and who had given the orders. He would wait 9 more years. In 1448, the Ottomans briefly found it useful to have a Wallachian Dracula on the throne. They gave Vlad his freedom and a small army and sent him to claim the voivodeship. His first reign lasted 2 months. A rival backed by Hungarian forces retook the throne before Vlad could consolidate power. He fled, first to Moldavia, then to the court of John Hunyadi, the Hungarian regent who had complicated feelings about the Dracula family. There he spent 8 years. He studied military strategy with the thoroughness of a man who had now been trained by both the Ottomans and the Hungarians, the 2 dominant military traditions of the era. He learned the weaknesses of both. He made himself useful enough to be kept close and dangerous enough to be taken seriously. In 1456, with Hungarian support and enough soldiers to matter, he retook Wallachia. He was 25 years old. He had been waiting 14 years. The Boyar families were still there, still powerful, the same clans, some of the same men who had organized the murder of his father and the burial alive of his brother, were sitting in the Wallachian court, managing their estates, collecting their rents, conducting their intrigues. Vlad recognized every face. He remembered every name. On Easter Sunday, 1457, he invited the Boyar families to a feast. The oldest and most powerful clans, all of them. There was food and wine. It was a celebration. When the feast was at its height, the doors opened and his soldiers came in. The elderly Boyars, those who had been adults in 1447, were impaled outside the city walls that morning. The younger ones, those who had only inherited their family's guilt, were put to work building Vlad's new fortress at Pinari in the Carpathians. Worked until their fine clothes fell off, until some of them died from the labor. This was not random cruelty. This was a specific debt, paid precisely to specific people. With the old power structure gone, Vlad could actually govern, and he governed with ruthless efficiency. Crime dropped dramatically, trade routes became safer. The famous story, he placed a golden cup at a public well in the capital. Anyone could drink from it. Anyone who stole it would be impaled. The cup was never touched for 6 years. In 1459, Ottoman envoys arrived demanding tribute and, as a deliberate insult, refused to remove their turbans before him. The Ottoman custom required heads to be uncovered before a sovereign. They were denying him sovereign status. Vlad had their turbans nailed to their heads. He then wrote to the Sultan explaining that he had merely helped the envoys maintain their custom permanently. By 1461, he had stopped paying tribute entirely. He was raiding Ottoman-held territory south of the Danube. He sent the Sultan a letter cataloguing every attack, listing villages burned, soldiers killed, captives taken. He was deliberately provoking a response he had been planning for. In June 1462, Sultan Mehmed II crossed the Danube with 60,000 soldiers. This was the man who had conquered Constantinople 9 years earlier, the greatest military prize of the century. He had never failed to take a target he had decided to take. He expected Wallachia to be straightforward. He was wrong. Vlad had emptied the country in front of them. Villages evacuated, crops burned, wells poisoned, roads destroyed, animals driven north into the mountains. An army of 60,000 cannot advance through territory with nothing to eat. Then the raids began. Guerrilla attacks from the forests, Vlad's light cavalry striking supply lines, burning provisions, killing stragglers. On the night of June 17th, he attacked the camp directly. 12,000 Wallachian cavalry in the dark, moving in complete silence toward the center of the Ottoman encampment, targeting the Sultan's tent. If Mehmed died that night, the campaign ended. He missed. By meters, Mehmed survived. The Ottoman army advanced anyway, starving and shaken toward Targovishte. And then they entered the forest. Over an area of several kilometers outside the city, Vlad had constructed his final argument. 20,000 stakes bearing the impaled bodies of Ottoman prisoners, captured soldiers and enemies taken over years of raiding, arranged by rank, the highest ranked at the tallest stakes. Mehmed's army stopped. The Sultan later wrote in his journal about the forest, describing it with a word that medieval Persian uses for something that combines horror and awe. He said his army could not go further through it. He turned the army back. A man who had never retreated from a military objective turned back from a forest of wooden stakes. But Mehmed had a different weapon. He sent Radu. Vlad's younger brother, now 27 years old, fully Ottoman in every way, led a cavalry force back into Wallachia with the Sultan's commission to take the throne. And the Wallachian boyar families, those who had survived the Easter feast, those who feared Ottoman reprisal more than they respected Vlad, opened their gates. One by one, the support crumbled. Vlad fled to Hungary, where King Matthias Corvinus welcomed him and then arrested him. The king had found it politically convenient to produce forged letters showing Vlad had been negotiating secretly with the Ottomans. It allowed Matthias to seize Hungarian subsidies meant for a Wallachian anti-Ottoman campaign. For 12 years, Vlad was held in comfortable captivity in Hungarian castles. He converted to Catholicism. He married a Hungarian noblewoman. He had a son. He waited. He had done this before. While Vlad sat in comfortable Hungarian imprisonment, something extraordinary was happening across Europe. German printing presses were publishing pamphlets about him. These were the first printed horror stories in European history, illustrated with woodcuts, describing in vivid detail every atrocity, real or invented, that could be attributed to the Wallachian voivode. Vlad dining among the impaled, Vlad boiling people alive, Vlad impaling children, animals, priests. They circulated across Europe in editions of hundreds. People who had never heard of Wallachia learned the name Dracula. The pamphlets were funded by German merchants, Transylvanian Saxons who had done business in Wallachia and been punished by Vlad for cheating Wallachian traders. They had commercial motives for destroying his reputation. They found willing readers. The irony is significant. The same man who was being portrayed as a monster in German pamphlets was being described as a military genius in Ottoman chronicles and as a defender of Christian civilization in Serbian ones. The same actions read completely differently depending on who was reading and why. The question of who Vlad really was has occupied historians for 5 centuries. The honest answer involves holding contradictions simultaneously. He killed tens of thousands of people. The estimates range from 20,000 to 40,000 during his 6-year second reign, executed as criminals, enemies, traitors, or examples. He also made the roads safe, protected Wallachian merchants from foreign exploitation, held off the most powerful military force in the world, and governed a principality that had been paralyzed by boyar factionalism with unprecedented effectiveness. The impalement was a tool. Brutal by any modern standard. By the standards of 15th century European governance, where public execution was normal, where torture was a routine judicial instrument, where the English were hanging and drawing and quartering, the French were breaking people on the wheel, and every court in Europe was executing people publicly for the spectacle of it. Vlad's method was more theatrical, but not categorically different. What made him different was the scale, the deliberateness, the specific choreography of the Forest of the Impaled, designed not just to kill, but to communicate. 4 centuries after his death, a Dublin librarian named Bram Stoker found his name in a book about Transylvanian history. He borrowed the name Dracula for his vampire novel, published in 1897. He took the name and almost nothing else. Stoker's count is Transylvanian, not Wallachian. He is undead. Vlad died in battle. He drinks blood. No historical source ever attributed this to Vlad. The fictional Dracula has consumed the real one. Romania's tourist industry is built on a castle where Vlad probably never slept. The real man is less fantastical and considerably more interesting. In 1475, after 12 years, King Matthias released him. The political situation had shifted again. Radu had died, Wallachia was unstable, the Ottomans were advancing, and Matthias needed a Dracula who would fight for Hungarian interests. Vlad was the most expensive piece on the board. Time to play him. Vlad was 44 years old. He had survived Ottoman captivity as a boy, 2 expulsions from his throne, and 12 years of Hungarian imprisonment. He had a wife, a son, Catholic baptism, Hungarian citizenship, and a military reputation that had not diminished. He had also been here before, 3 times in captivity, 3 times coming back. In November 1476, with a combined Moldavian-Transylvanian force, he took back Wallachia for the 3rd time. The Ottoman-backed voivode was expelled. His 3rd reign lasted approximately 6 weeks. The Allied forces had left. His Hungarian support had withdrawn to deal with other crises. He had a few thousand men against an Ottoman counter-offensive being organized south of the Danube. In December 1476, he was killed. The exact circumstances remain disputed. Some accounts describe an assassination by his own men, Wallachian boyar factions taking advantage of the isolation. Some describe a battle with Ottoman advance forces. Some suggest a combination, attacked by Ottoman soldiers while already betrayed by men who were supposed to protect him. His head was sent to Constantinople. Sultan Mehmed, the same Mehmed who had retreated from the forest of the Impaled 14 years earlier, had it displayed on a stake. Vlad's own method used against him. He was buried at Snagov Monastery on an island in a lake south of Bucharest. Or possibly not. When archaeologists excavated the burial site in 1931, the grave was empty. Even in death, he is not where they say he is. Without him, everything he had built collapsed within months. The order, the safe roads, the golden cup at the well, gone. The boyar families reorganized. Wallachia returned to the fractured, factionalized principality it had always been. His brother Radu had already died the year before, used by the Ottomans for 20 years, and then discarded when he was no longer useful. The beautiful boy who had laughed in Ottoman gardens died in obscurity, forgotten by the people he had served. The two brothers, sold by the same father in the same courtyard, had made opposite choices. Radu chose accommodation and survived longer in comfort. Vlad chose resistance and left a mark on European history that 5 centuries of fiction have not erased. Neither of them chose any of it. It was chosen for them in a Wallachian castle courtyard by a father who did not look at them as they were led away. His father sold him at 11 years old. Everything that followed, the impalement, the forest of stakes, the night attack that nearly killed a sultan, followed from that courtyard. From the face of a boy who understood that the man who was supposed to protect him had made a calculation, and that he was the currency. History remembers the vampire, the cape, the fangs, the castle in the mountains. It forgot the 11-year-old standing in a castle courtyard, watching his father's hand sign the agreement. That is always the price of dynasties.